Today, Madge has been appointed as the head coach of the Brisbane Broncos. Gordy.
Yeah, I was shocked. Obviously, it went around. We finished work and I was at the airport and my phone started to light up. I reckon about 20-odd text messages, and I didn't believe it at first, and I rang Kevvie and he just confirmed the news that he'd been moved on.
For it to happen so quickly in the Madge appointment, you don't do these in 3 days. You do your due diligence, you find out if he's interested, he then go. So I think, without Kevvie knowing, Madge has been speaking to him for a little bit longer than last week.
I think Madge has wanted this job. Well, he applied for it 4 years ago and Kev got the job. He's wanted this job for a long time. And look, there was a little bit of last-minute haggling today over the legal fees. Who was going to cover the New South Wales Rugby League legal fees? I understand that's now been rectified, and the announcement, you know, it hasn't been announced formally yet, but it's imminent. It'll be tonight.
We're going to get to Kevvie, and as you said, it hasn't been formally announced, but it is going to be. Yeah. Can you talk us through how this all went down?
Well, obviously, at the end of the season, it was a disappointing season for the Broncos. At the end of the season, the club formalised a review, got an external person to come in and do a review, talk to players, talk to staff, obviously. And as a result of that review, they've made the decision to move on from Kev. I mean, I don't think that review reflected particularly well on, we don't have to be Einstein to work out, it didn't reflect particularly well on Kevin and the coaching situation there. And obviously the club decided they need to go in another direction. Was
that reverse engineered? Because they weren't game enough
to make a call?
Well,
I would say, Gordy, generally you don't do a review unless you're pretty sure how it's going to turn out. So I reckon when the review, before they did the review, they probably had concerns.
Really, right? Do you agree it's harsh? He was ahead 24-8 in that grand final last year, and I know he lost it. I know Cleary knocked him out of it in the end. I am of the very strong opinion that he was entitled to a minimum 12 weeks next year to rectify and to introduce what the report recommended. Now, I'm told it wasn't just the report that cost him his job. It was Kevvie's reaction to the report and the fact that he blew up, and that's what Peter Bedell wrote last week, that he didn't take kindly to the criticism.
All right, as we exited the Fox League studios on Thursday night, the NRL world erupted with the sudden news of Kevvie's departure. Here's how the club officially broke the news on Friday morning.
We have come to an agreement, both the Broncos and the Walters family, that my time here as the head coach of the Broncos has finished. A lot of my time here has been good times. There's also, like everyone, has their dry moments and their moments where you learn and you get better. I am really proud of the fact that when I arrived here, as Dave said, the club wasn't in great shape. The proudest moment was last year's grand final. My son and all my family in attendance. It was really nice. And then this year, obviously, a tough year for everyone. Unfortunately, my time here now has finished from the head coaching point of view. Also want to thank my family. They've been really terrific for me, and just want to thank them and thank everyone else who's been a part of the journey here. Not so much the last 4 years, but you know, all my time here at the Broncos. Been many people that have helped me become the person that I am.
I think we all understand and can appreciate the passion, the genuine passion and love that Kev has for this football club. I can hand on heart say that he's put a pulse back into the Broncos. And whilst he won't continue as head coach from here, that connection will continue. You know, Kev will remain as an ambassador of the club, which I think is a really important connection for both the Broncos and Kevin Walters. The interesting thing about reviews is that at football clubs they happen every day. You know, they happen at training, they happen around games. In terms of larger reviews, you know, every club does it. They happen at post pre-season, they happen mid-season, they happen post-season. And for us, you know, there's a new direction that we'll head in. I think it's wrong to demonise the playing group over this. I think that would be totally wrong. Pre-season's you know, it's a big important part of the program, and we won't take too long to move on that.
Okay, so I was just about to ask, is Madge the right man for the job? But let's backtrack. You said that Kevvie, you believe, deserved more time. Is that what you're saying?
And I do, and I'm dirty on the players who have obviously turned on him, underperforming players who've been down, injured or out of form for the entire year. But as again, I don't want to keep dropping Peter Bedell's name. As he said, you can't sack 12 players. but they've all gone in behind his back and they've obviously complained, and I don't like that, particularly after he's taken them to a grand final.
When was the last time it worked when a coach was in a position where you went, you got 8 weeks to keep your job? It never worked.
Well, you have no idea it wouldn't have worked. You have absolutely no idea.
History suggests it doesn't work.
Well, I'll tell you,
There
Reedy.
was injuries last year, for one thing.
I understand
He's been
that.
at the club for 30 years,
I
right? I'm going to ask you one question.
Yeah.
When Kevvie walked into the organisation,
Yep.
is it better today than when he walked in? So is the club still moving forward? He walked in and there was wooden spoons
Gordy,
all over Red Hill.
I don't think particularly, but I think it went backwards this year. I think that's pretty obvious. You don't have to look at the ladder. I mean, Kev did a great job. He was there 4 years, got into a grand final, and deserves immense credit for that. And Dave's right to an extent. He put the pulse back in that club because he loved it so much.
But you asked me when was the last coach who was given the time frame. Adam O'Brien was sacked at Newcastle. He was gone. Then he stormed home last year and made the final. It does work. I
With his
thought he
best players
deserved
on
more
his field,
time.
he was 3 minutes away from winning the grand final. With his top players on the field for 6 games this year, they struggled. And I reckon he learnt more this year.
I tend to lean with Rudy on this because I think at the end of the day, if the club and the players lose trust in the head coach, you're in trouble, right? Whether you agree with it or not, whether you like what the players have done or not, whether you like what the hierarchy at the Broncos have done or not, if they lose trust and they don't believe in their leader going forward, which sounds like a majority, I could be wrong, I don't know, that's just from the outside looking in, then I agree. I don't think it'll work. I don't think it matters.
Do you think any of these players said to the reviewer, my form was very ordinary this year. It's not all Kev's fault.
Let me tell you something.
No, seriously, did any player take ownership for playing ordinary?
No one would.
Probably not.
No one would.
Well, why?
Reedy, no one does. No one does, right? So let's just put it in a school, in a classroom situation, right? The A students would go, yeah, well, I worked really hard. The C students, which there was a lot this year, who are they going to blame? Themselves, or are they going to blame the teacher?
But what Buzz has said, that Pete wrote is right.
It's much
easier
to get this outcome.
It's much easier to move on a coach than it is to clean out a dressing room.
Okay, perfect.
Much easier.
Great idea. So that they move on to a better coach.
Well, time will be the judge, right? But you would argue Michael Maguire has a better record than Kevvie Walters, yes. History would suggest he does have a better record.
So the last time he coached
won
the
2
club,
premierships.
did you watch Tiger Town?
I did. And, mate, that ended badly. That ended really badly.
How will Payne Haas, Pat
How did he end
Carrigan,
at
Reece
South, by the way, too?
We won a comp at South.
How did he end at South?
Well, it didn't end well, but he won a comp when he was there. And you would argue this roster's closer to South than it is to the West Tigers. Because it's got senior players who are in the prime of their career, ready to win a competition.
I like it.
You want to hope that all of them stay on the field.
I know.
Yeah, you would.
I know that
Yes.
you don't think he's a better coach.
No. I just asked the question. I just think that, a bit like Buzz's point, if you got to magic ground and you said that he wasn't good enough anymore, you just move on.
Gordy, do you think that would have worked? Do you think that if they'd said to Kev, you got to a magic round?
It's happened. I think
and
he
is that
deserved.
fair?
Look,
Is that fair to put Kev in that
You're saying it happened to Adam O'Brien, right? You're saying it happened to Adam O'Brien. But how many times has it happened where we're on the other side and we go,
well,
okay...
I don't know how many coaches were given
a lot of coaches have been given half a year. I've lost.
Ben Teo, when Trent Barrett went to meet with him, I'd spoken to one of those, I'm not going to name
Anthony
him,
Griffin.
and he said
Anthony
it's a real easy fix. There's not much, and we'll turn it around easy.
Yeah, but Reedy, and you've got me wrong. I've got no problems with Madge taking over that club. I just have a problem with the manner.
That's okay to have a problem with that.
Yeah, I do. I don't
but
like
I think
it.
the most, whether you have a problem
loyalty.
with that or not is irrelevant, I think, now.
Yeah,
Because
Okay, right. So it's the biggest, mate, one of the biggest brands in sport.
Yeah, it's the
Did
biggest
they
in
throw
rugby
it,
league.
okay, did they throw it out there to any applicants? Who did they interview for the job? Just hear me out. What if Trent Robinson goes, do you know what? I don't really want to be at the Roosters anymore. What if Cameron Ciraldo goes, I might want to see change?
Reedy, is it true they've had 6 coaches
you've got to be because if you don't ask the question...
You've got to be realistic.
Is it true?
Realistically, it's a big
Those guys weren't
club.
going to leave their clubs.
Is
How
it
do you
true
know?
they've had 6 coaches in 10 years?
Well, I haven't done the numbers,
Well,
but I suspect it probably is.
Right, okay. So when is the board and the management going to say, you know what, the problems at this club mightn't necessarily just be about the coach because we've had 6 of them in a
Kev
decade.
had 4 years. He had a good run there.
I know he did.
He had a good opportunity.
What's wrong
Really,
with
it was 3 minutes, mate.
I'm finding this hard.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong, but I don't
think it's a negative. Like, yeah, it's disappointing that a club legend's been let go and the way that it happened. But nothing's really going to end sunshine and rainbows when you've got a club legend as the head coach and you want to go in a different direction. Madge Maguire comes in, where he's won a premiership with Wigan, then he comes at South in a similar situation. Yeah, by the end of it, that they said they were burnt out, but he still had
2014.
2012, and then they won in 2014.
Wow.
So that by the third year, he won a premiership. He had the likes of Greg Inglis, and Sam Burgess, and Keary and Reynolds. Yeah,
It's a hell of a long time ago.
You know, I get it.
He led New Zealand to a win over Australia.
He's won the Origin
He
Series.
won an Origin Series for New South Wales in that time.
Okay, well, if that's your theory, then Mel Meninga coaches because he won 8.
Well, maybe they should.
I'm just asking.
I just say, I don't think
if you go for premierships, you go for Wayne.
Gordy, I don't think you'd be happy no matter who's in there.
No. All I'm saying is, if you
Who do you want? Who do you want? Pick someone.
No. All I'm saying, I don't care. I really don't care. But the people who have run the club, Wayne Bennett wasn't good enough. But he's good enough for South. He was good enough to build a club. And Peter V'landys wanted him to build a club. Okay? Seabolt, who's done a great job at Manly, he wasn't good enough. Kevvie wasn't good enough. If they keep on moving on coaches, the club's not going to move forward. But there's got to be some time of line in the
But for
sand.
right now, I look at Madge and I look, what do the Broncos need? They need to toughen up. They need to toughen up. They need discipline. To me, from the outside,
Where did Jack Gibson say winning starts?
The front
well,
office.
he's right too.
But what's
He's
that got to do with
right.
what I'm saying, bro?
No, it does. It's got.
But
You're
we are-
saying Madge is going to do the discipline starts in the front office, and the front office and the board have
And
overseen.
they've made this call.
Yeah.
So what do you want them to do?
They've actually-
They didn't
they've
obviously
actually
didn't
made-
think that Kevvie was the man for the
I
job.
don't think he's better than Kevvie.
I
If it was
know
Trent
that.
Robinson, if it was Ivan
I
Hanjack,
think he
if it
might
was
be
Craig
better than
Bellamy.
Kevvie, right? And I
You-
think he
you
deserves.
think?
No, well, I don't know.
There
But
you
as you raised at the start, Madge's behaviour during what was the TV show?
Look at everyone.
Tales from
No
Tiger
disrespect, but look at
How
everyone else
will
who's
that
entered that
go
facility.
down? But
Look
how
at
will-
anyone else who's entered that facility at the
Right,
Tigers.
you
Player,
cannot-
coach, anyone. And that's no
cannot
disrespect to
compare-
the Tigers.
You
I
cannot
can't have a
compare.
debate. You
Buzz,
just
No, but what,
Buzz,
I
you
haven't
can't
said
compare
much.
the Tigers to the Broncos. You cannot compare those
Yeah,
two
you can.
organisations. Well, you
I can
but the
say
Tigers
that I can
will
say
reflect
that I
badly on the
looked at
Tigers.
that documentary,
Yep.
and I didn't like
They probably have the same amount
the
of
manner
coaches.
in which he addressed players, the F-bombs. I think it's really.
Coach, he's swearing, Buzz.
It's
Are you
old
serious?
school,
Have you
mate,
been in a
it's old
shed?
school.
Are you saying that a coach can't swear?
No, I'm not. I thought he was out of control in the tails
I'll
for
tell you the
Tiger
first
Town.
thing Madge should do, and he did it with New South Wales this year. He went and got all the old boys and he sat them down, he got them involved. First thing
Well,
he should
he's
do
got
is
a
reach
job
out. He should reach out to this bloke here.
Good luck.
And every other former
lose
player.
my number, brother.
Every other former player.
Fair
He
dinkum.
should reach out.
Are you
And he
serious?
should
I'm a
bring you
Titan.
in.
I'm a Titan. I'll tell you
Doesn't
something.
matter, Gordy.
Two things, really.
This is
Just on
the
that.
lead
That's not
story
against
tonight.
Madge. That's actually not against Madge because Kevvie's asked me on about 5 occasions to go back and help, and I've knocked him back. One of my good mates. So I'm never going back to the Broncos. I'm a Titan.
I'm not saying he
So
should
that's
ask you
it.
to
No.
help,
Just,
but he should sit down with
that's
you
it. That's
and
full
break
stop.
bread.
No, that's full stop. That's not saying anything
You can have
else.
a coffee with the bloke, Gordy.
Yeah, I'll have a coffee, mate.
Okay.
No, actually, I don't drink coffee. I'll have a beer.
But I do know a couple of people that you've given life to over the years, and you're sort of back with them. So.
Is that you?
But you'll get
What
hit
about,
tonight.
Gordy, what about all this talk about the Brisbane Broncos needing a Queensland coach?
No, because Craig Bellamy was there, right? I think Ivan Hanjack, I'm not 100% sure. Ivan Hanjack's been there as well. You want the best coach for the organisation. They didn't win until we got a New South Welshman.
He's a New South Welshman, Henjo.
They didn't win until we got a New South Welshman in the name of Glenn Lazarus to come and lead the club, right? So yeah, you just want the best players to do the job.